Before any trophies can be raised in the air, there's the not-so-small matter of competition on the water. Before the firing of the starter's gun, or the pulling of the anchors, or hoisting of the sails, some would argue the competition to be champion starts in the boat yards of Long Island and Exuma long ahead of the regattas.
Long Island has been so consistent because we could do our own building and we know what we need to do.
Long Island's ace is a sailing prodigy who carries the most famous last name in all of Bahamian sailing.
It's something they got, and Stephen got it more so than any of the other brothers.
We are always on top of our game.
Despite his own success, Stephen Knowles acknowledges his competition.
The Exuma guys have always been very competitive in the sport from sloop racing began in the 50s.
We'll always be there. She's a tough boat to beat.
While Long Island and Exuma remain confident of their dominance on the water, respect has to be given to the boys from Abaco.
Congratulations, Jeff Gale and the crew from Abaco. There they go, hands up in the air. They've done it. They are the best of the best in the C class.
To date, the closest boat that I see in terms of that mixture right now in the C class especially is probably the 18 right.
Hands in the air, excitement, job well done, led from start to finish.
Well, like I was saying, with our team, we have been together a long time, and so it makes it easy for me.
But there is another sailor from Exuma who is always in the mix.
But Billy K got to hear from me because if she said a little better than she was feeling, he got to answer to me.
Buzzy is always there, but Buzzy has been having issues, I think, lately.
While Buzzy goes back to the drawing board, another Exuma sailor is working hard on the future of the sport, and he's involving his entire family.
You're on television, you're on the internet, you're being seen, you're on the big screens. I think it's really good for the sport. A lot of guys are excited about it.
The success of sailing is built around the rivalries that fuel the desire to compete and to win. These rivalries often lead to friendships built on mutual respect.
So even though on the water we are very fierce competitors and everybody wants to win, you know, it's still a friendship and a bond involved. And that's great. That's great for the sport, you know.
That's what makes it so much better, because we all understand one another. Maybe a little shouting at one another, but it ain't going nowhere. We just want one another to be better.
At the heart of it all, however, is the always present prime objective: to win.
I think right now B class is probably the toughest competition out there. I mean, the Chase, Old Boy, the Dove, Terry Ann, Sonia, Cobra, Udiva, any of these boats could be up there in the top. It's tough just to crack the top 4 these days.
Tonight, we discuss on the water, competition, the art of sailing, and the secret of winning.
Well, we all should have been in Long Island this week, feet up, enjoying the Long Island breeze. Not to worry, we are going to put you in that mood. Good evening and welcome to part 3 in a 5-part series, The Story of Sailing. This program is a production of the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. Tonight's show focused on the water, what goes on preparing these Bahamian-made sloops, and the competitives and trash talking that also goes on with it. And riding the pride once again this evening is my lovely co-host, Kelsey Johnson, who also knows a lot about competition and has an A+ in trash talking. For a taste of what we'll be discussing tonight, we go to this interview we did with Stephen Knowles and the Willie K that has dominated Class C for the last few regattas.
Well, first of all, the Willie K, as you can see, is a very keen boat. She's very slick. You look at her entrance is very smooth, and her bilge is kind of straight. You know, that's one thing that Mark does with sailboats. He's a very keen boat builder, and here all of his boats are built and they are very fast. There's more to racing than just his boat. You know, you have that rig, you need to make sure your rigging is in order, the mast and the booms. The angle of the mast is important. You need your sails, your pitch on your sails need to be good. And all boats, design of boats, they're different when it comes to the pitch of their sails and angle of the mast. You almost have to play with it, cat and mouse, to kind of figure out what works better. And then another key component to racing is the captain and crew. The VDK has had a consistent captain now from 2011 when I started sailing, or late 2010, and the crew is consistent. We have added a few guys over the years, but we never completely switched crew. If we took anybody new, it would be maybe one guy for one regatta and let him sail for two or three regattas until he got to learn the boat. So now we have about 10 crew that we could really call upon any time, and they could bring them aboard and they understand what we do, our tactics, etc., while we're on the race course. That combination is very difficult to beat consistently.
We take our first break here, and when we come back, we chit-chat it up with our in-studio guests.
I'm from Virginia, and I like record straight. Hi, I'm Haitian, man, and I like it in rig, and I like it in straight. Turn it up! Turn it up! Chillin', you know, too late now. Time in, I'm getting it. We gonna do this like this, okay? Sit down, open a chapter 12. We gonna do it like this, you know what I mean?
Welcome back to the Story of Sailing. Our panel tonight is Captain James Wallace, skipper and sponsor, and also champion skipper and race coordinator Clyde Roll. Also joining us by Zoom, top skipper Jeff Gale from Hopetown, Abaco, and from Mangrove Bush, Long Island, but currently in Abaco is Stephen Knowles, the man who has dominated the water the past few years. And it's a party tonight, mixing it up on the tables, our resident DJ, Stevie B, and on the floor of the entertainers, big sexy Synovia Pierre, and the man who will be all over the floor, Mr. Energetic, Funky D. Wallace, Mr. Wallace, your take on what goes on in getting sloop sailing ready.
Good evening, Kelsey. Good evening. Sloop sailing has been around for a long time. There's a lot of preparation that goes on. Fisher, you've been around sloop sailing, you know, from starting where you go and you actually have to prepare these boats. A lot of money and effort is involved with the crew doing this, right down to getting the boat on a trailer, taking it up, hiring a crane to actually get it to the water. Then once you've gotten it in the water, you've got to pitch the mast, you've got to make sure the riggings are correct. You got to go there and you got to decide, you know, what is the wind condition going to be like. All of these are the preparation that you go into to get into the race. If you make the wrong choice on race day, unfortunately you will pay a heavy price. You put on the wrong sail and it's not the wind condition isn't for that sail, you're going to have a problem. So you have really to be on your game plan, know what's going on around. Then it comes to the crew. You know, once you're on the water, you know, depending upon what the wind is, sometimes you have to make some difficult choices. Which crew you're going to take off because the boat may be too heavy because of the wind condition, or which crew you're going to put in what position. There's a whole lot involved with deciding and making sure that you cross the finish line first. That is the objective of actually trying to win. You know, once you've gotten your opportunity out there, if you make a mistake, these boats are sailing so close and so fast that one mistake will cost you the race.
That sounds like a whole lot. So what is the call time for you and your crew to be on the water or out there?
Well, you're out there basically all day, from 8 in the morning until 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. Because you got to remember, Kelsey, most of these crew are sailing multiple sloops. So you have an A class, a B class, or a C class. So you have a lot of activity. So the crew have to be in real good physical condition to actually go out there.
And Clyde, you see the preparation that goes into getting these sloops ready. On an average, how many sails would a skipper have on a given day?
Well, the average boat today, they carry at least 3 sails. Some of them have 2 masts, and others have 2 to 3 boom. And, you know, like Wallace said, you got to try and get the right mast and the right sail for that particular day. Now, there's something that some of the more sophisticated guys do. They have what is called a 3-in-1. So that one sail can be used from a heavy wind to moderate wind to light wind. And that person would have a slight advantage on the person who would have to go and change the sail. Because if the wind condition changes after the race start, then you can adjust your sail to that wind condition, and it gives you an advantage over the next person.
Let's bring Stefan Knowles in this conversation now. Stefan, how many days prior to the regatta do you get your crew ready for the event?
Good afternoon, Bahamas. Good afternoon, Charles. It all depends on the regatta. You know, the major regattas like the National Family Island Regatta, Long Island Regatta, and Best of the Best is a lot more preparation because you're racing 3 classes for 4 days. So there's a lot more preparation involved with those regattas, you know, sometimes up to 2 weeks. The smaller regattas like a Farmer's Key or Black Point or Baratari or Rollville, it's only a 2 to 3 day regatta for 1 class. So there's a lot less work involved with getting the boat ready and getting your crew in order to participate.
So Jeff, how have you been keeping busy now that there's no sailing going on?
Well, here at AFCO, we were hit by Hurricane Dorian, and then after that, then the COVID. So we've been, first of all, just working on our homes, working on our businesses, trying to put things back together. And there's been no lack of things to do. We're busy with that. Sailing has been kind of on the back burner. We're hoping to get back into it soon. Our boats, our Lonesome Dove, fortunately during the hurricane was in Long Island being replanked by Mark Knowles. He's just about finished with that. We're hoping to get her back into Abaco in the next couple of weeks, then be able to put her back in shape. And It Ain't Right was here, survived the storm okay, and she's just been in storage. So yeah, we're busy just working on recovering and be sailing again soon.
Well, Stefan, if you can just give us an insight, because this week would have been Long Island Regatta. If you could just tell everyone what you and your crew would have been doing at this particular time in Long Island.
Hey, Kelsey, right now, looking at the time, we'd have been having a nice mutton dinner with crab and rice and macaroni and potato salad and a cold gin and coconut water. Out here in Abaco, me and Mark just had a conversation today. We were working on the bridge here, and I told Mark, I said, boy, things really changed. It's the beginning of the Long Island Regatta, and we down here in Abaco building bridges. So time surely has changed, and COVID has turned our lives upside down, to say the least.
With that in mind, how are you guys keeping the crew in condition in case the regatta picks up again? How are you keeping the boat in condition? Because the boat needs to get wet, I should say.
Well, most of these boats are in storage. In some cases, they are out the water. The crew, you try to have an event over the last holiday weekend, the Ant's Nest 2, which is a boat that I sail on and sponsor. We had a get-together where we had an event in the Whit Monday holiday. You know, occasionally we talk to the crew and find out, you know, what's happening. Unfortunately, we recently lost Vivian Lockhart, a boat builder. He is actually the builder of the boat Ant's Nest 2. He's from Ragged Island. So more than the Andros or the Exuma or the Long Islanders, there are people who build boats out of Ragged Island. So you have now in sloop building, everybody has sort of digressed to what were traditionally Ragged Island boats, which is the flatter boats. So they've moved away from the original mold. But we're keeping the crew together as best we can. We are anxious to get on the water again fishing.
And you talk about getting the sloops ready. Clyde, you've gone away from sailing on these boats, basically, to more organize it. How far back? I know we spoke to Danny, we talked about the National Family Regatta. That planning for that begins right after the last regatta. How has preparation been in far back in terms of getting ready for the next regatta?
Well, Tricia, to tell you the truth, every day I'm getting a call from whether it's Long Island, Black Point, Daniel Key, or right here in Nassau. The guys keep calling me and saying, Clyde, when are we gonna get back on the water? All I can say, I cannot give you an answer. COVID has the control of everything, so we have to wait until we can see our way clear, and then we can try have a major regatta, maybe here in Nassau first. I am looking toward the best of the best in November. It's far away from here. But if we can't get something in August, we'll have to wait until November or December when we can have something really good for these guys. And you know, these guys, they miss this thing so bad. And I can tell you the truth, I miss it a lot myself.
Stephen and Jeff, is there something called withdrawal symptoms in sailing?
Myself and my crew, we get together all the time. We talk about it, and like Stephen said, we should be kicking back, having some gin and coconut water, and hanging out. But we're not. We're working instead.
What about Steph?
Yeah, Charles, it's been a challenge over the last 2 years, really. Me personally, we race about 8 regattas a year. We try to do all of the major regattas, Long Island, the National Regatta, BOB, but we do a lot of the smaller regattas, Farmers Key, Black Point, Rollville, the Switch Up Regatta. Sometimes we go to Harbor Island. So not racing is very unusual, and it's very difficult for a lot of the guys because we're so used to these holiday weekends being on different islands competing. And now, it's just work and more work. So it's very challenging for the mind. Even you have to. Nowadays, they find myself doing a lot of fishing, and going to the beach and stuff to get away because it's torturing your brain to not be racing as much as we're used to.
Well, Clyde, as a race coordinator, what are some of the adjustments you think we're going to make sure we get sailing back on the water to adjust to the new norm?
Well, my Commodore, Danny Strawn, he stay in contact with me all the time. And he said to me, Clyde, we have to try, see if we can work out something with the government, work out something with the sailors, see if we cannot put something together to get sailing ready. We're not going to have it in Georgetown because, our time already passed. But we got to see if we can get something together with the Long Island Association, the associations in Nassau, and see if we can put something small right here in Nassau. It is very difficult, but we have to try and do something with the ministry.
And as we head into this break, take out your phones. We have a trivia for our viewers. We are giving away a cooler bag, and this one should be pretty easy, but I don't want you skippers to answer this. Name a sloop from the 3 classes, A, B, and C. You can call or WhatsApp your answers to the numbers 424-6311 or 427-1811. And the first correct answer wins. We are giving away, once again, a free cooler bag.
Lord, all over my body, from my head straight down to my feet. I shall meet this pint on the good drum and the soul of the regular beat. Oh, I went to Cat Island to the musical festival. I was always into reggae and rap, never checked for the rake and scream. Lord, I stay with my family up the road there in Anderstown.
For trivia question, once again, we are using just one number tonight, 427-1481. Name a boat in each class, A, B, or C. You can call or WhatsApp your answers and you can win yourself a cooler bag. In this section, we are talking about branding, and now joining us on the set is Delworth Gibson. When I first went to Regatta, I say, boy, those barbarian crew, they are dressed so good. But when the results came in, they call them the best dressed crew at Regatta. Welcome to the Story of Sailing, Delworth.
Thank you for having me, sir.
And we still have James Wallace. And tell us about, how did this all come about? You're here in your barbarian straight tonight. Number 5, tell us, how did this all come about?
Well, first of all, let me lay a little foundation for you. This goes back in Auckland when I was born. My mother and my father said, look, what you put out to the world, what they see of you first, that is what they're going to remember. So when we decided we were going to build a boat and enter this competition, the first thing we wanted to do is to present ourselves as gentlemen of sailing. We wanted to present our island, and we wanted to be known for what we are famous for. We are prideful people in Auckland. We are people who are very proud. And that is what I really started out with the branding of my boat. First of all, when we dressed our crew, we wanted everybody to know that he was associated with the barbarian. That is the first thing. The second thing is we wanted them to know which island we were from. Okay, and that all worked into what the boat was all about. And then the third thing is we really and truly wanted to change the narrative about sailing and the men involved in sailing. Now, what I mean by that is sailing was known as a rowdy sport in the 60s, 70s, early part of the 80s. It was not palatable. It was very difficult to comprehend for the average person. So really and truly, we really wanted to get this thing a little more palatable, something people could understand, and we wanted people to be able to come up to us, talk to us, ask questions. And the only way we could do that really is if we presented ourselves in a certain way. And that is what this was all about for me, okay? Changing the narrative. And then this whole thing spilled over into something else. We got some spillover that we really didn't expect. We traveled to every island in this country sailing. And we have found that people walked up to us just because they see Auckland's on our shirt. Hey, I have some family from Auckland's. Do you know such and such? So it's a great conversation starter for us. Okay, not only that, when we started to travel to Exuma, we found that a lot of our guests, our out-of-town guests, tourists, they would come up and they would just ask questions. Well, why do you do this and why is this? Because we were organized.
Now let's get into this. We're talking about the branding of boats. There was a talk a few years ago to put something on the boat, the sails especially, so that persons on shore can recognize and say, that is Aunt's Nest out there, that is Barbarian. How far are we from that, and should that be done now?
Yes, I think it should be. Branding has been in sloop sailing from way back. If you look across the races over the years, the blue boats were traditionally from Regatta Island. The red boats was from the Exuma Keys. The white boats was from Long Island and Andros. But sailing has evolved to such an expensive sport that the time has come where the Bahamian companies can get involved with this. If you look at these sloops, they are painted Fisher. The price of painting these boats are amazing. And some of the guys spend a lot of money to do this. So this branding issue is something there that you can see and enjoy. I mean, you got boats like the Natalie, which was sponsored by Campari. Aunt's Nest is sponsored by Islander, which is a brand of Janae's Uniform Center. The Barbarian Delworth sponsors his own boat, I believe. But he's always well-dressed. The crew are always well-dressed. So you have a lot of branding, and there's a lot of opportunities for the Bahamian businesses to commercialize the sailing. I mean, there's something that a lot of people don't realize behind the scene. There's a lot of betting going on with these boats. So even the betting houses, I'm surprised that they haven't gotten on board. There's opportunities there where people are betting on these different races, and there's a lot of side bets that skippers and owners are doing. So there's tremendous opportunity here for branding to make this sport
Now
go forward.
we see it in race car, Stefan and Jeff. We see it in race car where they have their crew and everything. You think that we now should be moving to that point? Stefan, so you feel like we should move into that point, like how the race car is all out?
Without question. First of all, there's no way our government could sustain the sport sponsoring it with a few $100,000 a year. It cannot happen. For this sport to grow, this sport has to be able to support itself. And the only way it will be able to support itself is if we go through the branding. Okay, my boat was sponsored by Gilbey's Gin for almost 12 years, back in the early day. And we carried Gilbey's label on our uniform. My crest was on the right side, Gilbey's was on the left. But we had a mandate. They looked at trying to increase the sale of their brand by 1% per year because of our branding. And that was a deal I had with at the time, Burns House and Mr. Garrett Vincent, as a condition to him sponsoring our boat. He was looking for growth of the Gilbey's brand by 1% per year. And we had to get out there and promote that for them. It wasn't about promoting it by winning, it was promoting it by showing his product. And that's where we have to go in order to sponsor ourselves right now. Sailing is huge, and the potential for sailing is huge in our country. We are not tapping in to the resources that we have. This is a billion-dollar industry. We are playing with it, unfortunately, and we cannot play with this thing. This thing is too big for anybody to play with.
Well, it's all about branding. And when you talk about branding, Rake and Scrape is also unique to the island and the country of the Bahamas. So let us now go to Synovia Pierre. Yes, she will be raking and scraping and jiving and rocking for us.
Regatta start, y'all. I hope you're ready. Here we go. Going to regatta for a ting-a-ling-a-ling. Ting-a-ling-a-ling, y'all ain't leaving me. I ain't got no money, not a ting-a-ting-a-ting. A ting-a-ting profiling in the party. Don't mind fancy clothes, only God knows I broke, busted, I ain't got no money. Hey, everybody, y'all ready? Let's go. Right in our living room, right? Here we go. I grind to the island on a plane or boat. I going to regatta, drive, swim, or float. Dressed up in my Tommy Sean and Nike. Nobody will ever know I got no money. Baguette manger, one drink in my hand. I can walk around all night, this is my plan. When I get sleepy, I get under one tree. Other people there and they all broke just like me. Profiling in the party. Cell phone on my side, but no minutes I can dial. Hey! No bed to sleep, but I'm bothering me. Here we go. Going to regatta for a hey, hey. Y'all ain't leaving me. I got no money, not a take. Profiling in the party. Don't mind fancy clothes, only God knows. I broke, busted, I ain't got no. Chelsea, you ready to go? People, powder, perfume, and lotion. Watch out. In bed in 2 days, I ain't changed no clothes. If you skull with me, you better hold your nose. Along with this rake and scrape, the funk can on by. I can see water till I reach my yard. Profiling in the party. Catch right at the club. Guess what? I the DJ can on board. Hey! Don't worry, I ain't got no money to get in the club. But that's all right. I can stand outside and I can watch them through the window. Can't do regatta for a... Me and Fisher could do that. What you saying? In the party. I ain't got no money, no to... Take. Profiling in the party. Don't mind fancy clothes. Only God knows I broke. I say on pague l'argent, pague manger. I ain't got no money. You all understand that, right? Here we go. Regatta finish, I see the first boat. I got work tomorrow, my time running out. 1 million people down by the airport. Well, everybody bumping yon. Lord have mercy. Profiling in the party. Oh my gosh, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Profiling. Guess what? I ain't gonna do this no more. Yeah, right, we can be right here. Profiling, come on. Going to Regatta for a ting-a-ling-a-ling. Ting-a-ling-a-ling. Y'all ain't leaving me. I got no money, not a tick-tick. Profiling in the party. Don't mind fancy clothes. Only God knows. I broke. I busted. But guess what? I don't care how broken busted I is. I can be the profile. I can be the profiling queen at Regatta. Here we go.
We are back. We have a winner of our first trivia, Clinton A. Roll, out of Long Island, named the 3 classes, a boat in 3 class A, B, and C. And just for a special treat tonight, we're going to give away another gift. This gift, a $100 gift certificate by the Long Island Association. And can you tell us how many times has the Long Island Regatta been held? And you can win yourself a $100 gift certificate, courtesy of the Long Island Association. Once again, the number 427-1481. Now back to our discussion. We still have Delworth Gibson here. We are now joined by Keith Brown, and also joining us by Zoom from Long Island is Chester Fox. Keith and Chester, welcome to the story of sailing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I know you guys have a lot of story about sailing. First of all, we'd like to ask you, how you been adjusting without sailing? Because you just love to be out there.
Oh man, good night, Bahamas. You guys had me out here this morning at 7 a.m. when I was supposed to be at 7 p.m. So that's how I adjusted. Getting up early in the morning is what we do. And sailing the gunfire at 9 o'clock, and don't mind be out at 11, 12, but 7:30. Captain says, all man, you know, in the army, they come and ring the bell. You have to get up and be on the line for 9 o'clock, and that's how this is. I'm adjusting. I dream about sailing every night. I don't know.
So you're having withdrawals?
I am, and seriously, my crews have withdrawal because they want me to go put Sweet Island Gal in the water. And let's go sailing, because COVID means that, guys, we can't sail. But I told them, what we going to do? I'm going to spray the boat, get it right, get the mast, and then ask the Captain Moxie, put her in the water, and we'll go on the side, the car, a little cool in the boat, keep our masks on in case the COVID people come and say, you're too close.
All right, Chester, how's things going down in Long Island?
Chester, you and I would have been having a good time in Long Island this weekend. You're sitting there in your grandfather's seat. How are things?
Man, everything is so good, but boy, that regatta is such a miss. I'm just right here now. I'm saying we would have been into the second day of our regatta in Long Island. Right now, our regatta side would have been buzzing right now. All the guys talking about who did what out on the water today. The regular sailing trash talk. It's a big miss, Fisher, no lie.
In terms of organizing, you guys were getting ready for a big celebration.
Yes, this would have been our 53rd, and yeah, we would have been really having a good time. This would have, like I said, we would have been into our second day of racing already. So yeah, and tomorrow, tomorrow's our Labor Day holiday. But it is what it is, and hopefully before long we can get back out on the water, because I know, like myself, the sailors really missing this, and all the camaraderie, getting together with one another, enjoying the competition and all the onshore activities. So it's a big miss, but hopefully things will start getting back to normal and we can all get back out on the water.
How are those young persons on the island adjusting? Because they look forward to regatta and they like to go sail on with the big boys.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, they're missing it just as much as us, and we talked about doing a little something probably in another couple of months or so. We wanted to do something for the Easter Monday holiday, but that didn't come off. But we really miss it and looking forward to getting back out on the water as soon as possible.
And Delwood, how have you been keeping your crew in top? Because like a runner, you have to train, So suppose they say regatta is in August. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, the crew has been ready from almost 2 years ago. But really and truly, Fisher, what I have to do to keep my crew together is make it a point to get the boys together at least once every 3-4 months where it's possible. I bring them together and I take them down by the boat, okay? And we just look at what's happening with the boat because, with these boats being stored, dry stored, there's damages from the wind, the water, and the sun. And these boats are made of wood. They start to open up. And, well, when I get the boys together, we say, well, look, we got to deal with this. We got to deal with this. We take the mast, the boom out. We look at it. We had to replace 2 booms. 2 of our booms just from sitting because of water damage and sun damage. So we had to rebuild 2 of them. So me and the boys, we have been active. A couple of my friends called me and said, I know you didn't build another boat. No, we haven't touched the boat. We believe we have a winning formula with the design that we have. So we're staying with that. But it's been tough for us. And trust me, this is not easy. This is not easy. These boats are meant to sail. These boats are meant to be in the water, in salt water, by the way. Fresh water damages them is untold.
Oh, Sweet Island girl looking.
Well, she always look good. I mean, she didn't have no paying job on her, but, the makeup is off. When the woman is beautiful with makeup, you take the makeup off, but she still looks good. I mean...
That's true, Kelsey?
A woman, it's just like a woman. You put on your makeup and that enhances your beauty. Mm-hmm. But when you take it off, you're still a beautiful Nubian, the word princess. You still look good.
Is it difficult navigating on the various courses and stuff that you have, like on different islands?
Well, the thing about that is that when we get to the islands, some islands, the water is not as deep as, say we go to Georgetown, say we go to Mangrove Key, and we have to race with the tide. And the tide means that when we start the race, you start at high tide, and by the time you get to the finish line, the tide drops so fast, you have to be skimming the water because you will run aground. So some islands are different that in every island. You go to Auckland, you go to Georgetown, which is deep water, Andros, which is deep water. Cat Island, you could sail, and some islands you have to navigate starting. Now, the C class is no problem. The A class that's why A class only go to certain islands. Because A class only could sail in a certain amount, say 10 feet maybe.
But to add to your question is it difficult navigating to different islands? Yes, because each island has a different current flow. And from the technical side of it, in terms of skippering, if you don't know the flow of the current during the different tides, then you are at a disadvantage. People wonder why it's so difficult to beat certain skippers in certain harbor. Well, they know those harbors. They know which way the current flows. They know what's the speed of a current. You know if a current is flowing at 8 knots, if a current is flowing at 14 knots. It's a huge difference. You need to know if you need to put the broad side of your boat to that 14-knot current, or you need to put the bow of your boat into that 14-knot current. Now, that is what makes it so unique and different with each harbor. Okay? I mean, right out here in Montague Bay, during a falling tide, trust me, that water is running down through the bridge down towards our quay. So if you hang over to this side of the coast towards Paradise Island, you are at a huge disadvantage compared to the boat that goes up towards the Nassau side.
So that with what you were saying about this broadside and port side, so they want to talk to the public, starboard or port?
Yeah, no, well...
You know what I mean?
What's the difference? I mean, for a female, because it seems as though the men on the panel, they know exactly what the port...
Well, okay, right. Port and starboard simply means, first of all, you are sitting facing the bow of the boat, okay?
Now,
the
where's the
bow
bow?
is the front of the boat.
Okay, just for clarification.
So you're always sitting facing the front of the boat.
Right.
Front of the boat. So the port side of the boat, yes.
It's the left hand
The
side.
port side of the boat will always be to your left.
To the left. That's
That
the port.
does
So
not
this
change.
This is the port. This
That
is the
is
port.
your port side.
Okay.
Right
The
side is
starboard side will
This-
always be
to the right.
your right side. So it doesn't matter if this boat turns around.
Okay.
Where's your port side?
My port
Left.
side is to the
Also
left. This side. Right. This side.
Let's get
This
Chester
is
before
where-
we go.
this
we
is
go
where it
this
gets
is a
confused.
show for another discussion. Left and right. Put your foot up. But Chester, like again we said, the Long Island Regatta was supposed to be this weekend. You may still want to ride. You think that you're going to ride by and just see, or you're going to just zoom past? Is there a mistake that you may still go down there thinking the regatta is on?
Boy, you know, we pass by, but you know, I live very close to the regatta, so I always look out there, and especially Tuesday morning, when I woke up, I look out there and I said, boy, right now I would have been heading down to the regatta site to get ready to tow the boats out to the anchor, get everybody all squared away, and get ready for our skipper's meeting. And yeah, boy, Fisher, it's it's such a mess, you know, and you just look out there and just wish we could be out there sailing. I look at Keith and I listen to Keith and Delboy, they're talking now about sailing. And even though they not winning all the time, but they have the spirit, and I know they want to get out there and prove that they can win. So yeah, it's really, I mean, I really miss the guys so much, and hoping that we can get back out on the water soon. Maybe if we're lucky, maybe we could pull off BOB, hopefully, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that right now.
Hey, thanks a lot, Chester, for joining us here tonight. When we come back, you hear what Chester was talking about just now. Trash talking. Who's the best trash talking among sailors? I know among the sports group, it's Kelsey.
I'm still the best athlete, so that stands for a lot.
Okay, that says it all then.
Jolly gray, your boat needed bailing out. Yeah, that sailorman sound. Jolly gray, your boat needed bailing out. Yeah, that sailorman sound. If you wanna go to heaven, the red hat on your head. Oh, it's on the radio. Right that boom. Oh, bum 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 bum. Right that bum 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 bum. Oh, bum 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 bum. Another sweet song coming our way. Another sweet.
Well, we have a winner already of the $100 gift certificate, courtesy of the Long Island Association. How many regattas have been held in Long Island? The number is 52, and the winner is Bonita Murray. Now we go into some trash talking, and when I first started covering regatta, all I used to hear is, bada, 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 bada. I didn't know what they were talking about. I thought they were going to fight, but it was just good talk among you guys. Stefan joining us here. Jeff is also joining us, Clyde, and Keith. Stefan, Jeff, Clyde, Keith, who is the biggest trash talker in regatta?
Boy, that's a hard one to answer.
If you talk about the biggest trash talk, it'll have to be Faki.
What about you?
I think I agree with Keith. He sailed with me a couple of times, and you'll never lose with him. If he lose, he's still winning, as far as he's concerned. That's Faki.
Steph, who's the biggest trash talker? You.
Well, Charles, I think I have to agree with Keith. I don't know what to do. Now that I think about it, I think they're right.
Jeff, you're not much of a talker, but who's the biggest trash talker?
Oh, well, Stefan, of course.
You agree with that, Chester?
Well, I think Mark knows right up there with the best when it comes to trash talking.
What is some of the talk that go on in regatta? Now, don't forget, this is a PG show.
No, the talk is at the beginning. It's a bet and who gonna beat who, and who's this, and then after the race is finished, that's when the trash talking start, because somebody was supposed to cut somebody and they didn't do this, and they bet on the show who could win, and then they didn't win. So now we under the shade, and we're talking about the next race. And how are we going to beat somebody, and who's going to bet on how much money you're going to beat me? And then when they get beat, you go to look for them, you can't find them.
What about you, Stefan? What are some of the things you tell your competition? Seem to have lost Stefan. Jeff, like I say, you're not much of a trash talker. Do you get involved in these conversations?
No, I let some of my crew say things for me, but we try not to say too much.
Stefan, you there?
Yeah, Charles. I like to intimidate people, so anytime you see me start trash talking, I tell them straight up, don't look for me tomorrow. I'll be in front, just look at this Johnson.
I was once one time, I agree with you or Chester, I was once one time in Long Island and Mark was building a boat and a guy came around and he talked to him like,
Yeah, the trash talking, to tell you the truth, Fisher, a lot of the trash talking is on the shore. Because a lot of the guys who are on the shore, they used to sail and they can tell everything that is happening. When you come back, man, you come ashore and they tell you that, oh, you make this wrong tack, you make that wrong tack, and so on. That cost you to get beat. You cost me to lose my $5 or whatever the case is. But a lot of trash talking go on with men, and as a matter of fact, a lot of ladies are involved in sailing, and they do a lot of trash talking too. There's a lot of fun in it.
I'm getting this call. Does sailors have their own English language?
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, there's never no argument. There's never going to be any
wars, no fights.
no fights or anything like that. Because
talking.
30, 40 years ago, people used to think that sailors are a bunch of people who drink and carry on. But, you know, like Delwood said, that perception has changed completely. You have a lot of professionals involved in sailing now from every walk of life. And we just enjoy it, have fun.
Crews are more disciplined now.
Okay, yeah, that's everybody going to get in their final thoughts before we leave here today.
Right.
Go ahead.
I'm saying crews, like Del was saying with his branding and you get your crew. So your crew is more disciplined now than before time. When I started sailing with Baba J in 1986 as a young boy, like Delbert said, we had a brand, and Lady Natalie crew used to be like, when you see us dressed, you know that's Lady Natalie crew. And Delbert saying, that's how our crews are now. You have your crews stick together and they branded because the captain said to the crew, look here, man, we have to represent the sport. Now, you could do what you could go there, have some fun. You nobody tell you can't. You're a grown man, but listen, represent the sport.
Yeah. Stefan and Jeff, what are your plans for Labor Day?
Go ahead, Stefan.
What are your plans for Labor Day?
Boy, Charles, wake and more wake. I got to be to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's about it. Real Labor Day.
What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, same thing. Just we're plugging away at it, putting things back together. Might get a little surfing in, I hope. But yeah, it's here in Abaco. It's a lot to do.
Thank you, Jeff and Stefan. Chess, I don't want to see a car riding by. I'm going to set up, what you call them, my helicopter tomorrow. I don't want to see you riding by Salt Pond Regatta site now.
No, Fisher, I think I'll just probably lay back tomorrow and just look out at the water a little bit, enjoy some of the Long Island breeze and reminisce about sailing and what have you. But yeah, it's really missing the guys and looking forward to seeing all of them soon out on the water.
Thanks a lot, Chesson. As the senior man here on the panel, Clyde.
Well, Fisher, all I would like to see Regatta back sailing again. I love the crowd. I love the camaraderie. You know, I do a lot of organizing the regatta and stuff like that. Once it's going well and I see everybody having a good time, it doesn't matter who wins. I just want to make sure everybody have a good time. And I'm looking forward to us having a regatta before the end of this year. I am dying for a regatta.
I'd like to thank James Wallace, Delworth Gibson, Clyde Roll, Keith Brown. I miss you guys, you know. I miss you guys. I really miss you.
We really miss you guys, too.
Thank you for joining us here on the Sailing Story.
Like Fisher say, thank you so much for joining us on tonight's show. And I may not know the left or the right side of the boat, but I know this man, he will be jamming. I mean, Funky D. He is in studio with us, and we're going to toss it to the man in the glitter.
Come on now. Woo! Watch this now. Get up Saturday morning, around 10 o'clock. Heading with my homeboys down to the dock. Get some stew fish, potato bread, and Johnny Cake. Head down to Regatta to hear some break and skip. When the music starts, I can't stay still. People laugh at me. They think I ill. I don't care what they say, don't care what they do. They don't feel the music down in their shoe. I can't stop, I can't stop. When the music hit me, I feel like dancing. If you like dancing the way I like dancing, come along and dance with me. Come on, watch it out, hey! Woo! Yes, man! Listen, when the music hit me, I jump around. People try to hold me down to the ground. I struggle and I fight. I get away. When I feel like dancing, I don't play. I know how to shake. I know how to whine. Don't care how drunk I get. I dance on time. When them drums are spiking, I feel the groove. That's when I grab my partner. I make my move. I can't stop. I can't stop. When the music hit me, I feel like dancing. If you like dancing, come on, y'all. Come along and dance with me. Come on now, let's go. Come on. Yes, man. Listen, man. I can't stop. I can't stop. When the music hit me, I feel like dancing. If you like dancing, like I like dancing, come along and dance.